Okay, as the title suggests, I believe one God religions, and to take it even further, I believe that all organized religions, at least the modern day ones, and even the old ones, like Zeus and all of them, they're all they're all hell. Uh, they represent for me the literal representation of hell. Why? Well, there are a lot of philosophical good things in there, taken directly from philosophy that's been around for thousands of years, well before all these religious texts were written. Now, uh, the primary focus of most of the one God religions is taking contextual mannerisms from the Golden Rule, and but then you have all the contradictions. Hate the gays, hate the non-believers, hate this, hate that, hate this, hate that. Uh, Go out and spread, and and basically uh, do whatever the hell you want. Multiply, and be plentiful. Uh, that is uh, that is what the hell we're living in now. Uh, we've taken that and we're destroying the very planet that is necessary and the ecosystem that is necessary for our survival. And that is an aspect of the one God religion. Uh, I My personal experience with Christianity, uh, and I was raised Roman Catholic, but I've run into Baptist, Presbyterian, you name it, all over. Being a truck driver, as well as driving throughout the 48 states. And while the people that are religious, for the most part, they're fairly decent people. But even with that decency, they still have some. They still hang on to some of the more egregious uh, ideas, such as hating somebody because they like somebody of the same sex. Uh, Now, before anybody says, "Well, it's probably because you're a homosexual, because you're gay," well, that's not the fact. I'm quite heterosexual. Uh, I'm quite heterosexual. I like women, and to be honest, I don't. I can't picture myself kissing a man in a intimate way or having sex with a man. It just that just doesn't do it for me, and that's perfectly all right to be heterosexual. It's also perfectly all right to be a lesbian. It's perfectly all right to be a homosexual. Um, you love who you love, uh, and you like what you like. That's a biological fact, and none of this retardedness is going to change. And retardedness, what I mean by retardedness is insanity. It's just insanity that brings about hypocrisy, bigotry, hate, contention, and all that other stuff. All right, so going back to my own personal thing with one God religion, I've when I was about five, I think, I was my birth mother committed suicide. She was not a very happy woman, an angry woman. She used to beat me quite regularly. She even tried to drown me. Um, so when she and when she tried to drown, after she tried to drown me, she ended up committing suicide. Well, uh, the first orphanage I went to was run by Catholic nuns. Now, at this orphanage, me and all the other children were expected to put together these raw plastic hollies ornaments in a unventilated, windowless room where if where we would get sick from the smell, from the toxic smell. We would literally throw up. So a lot of the kids got sick. We didn't want to be in there. We didn't want to do the work. And if we didn't, they took this rather large. It looks almost like an oak cutting board, a large oak cutting board with a handle. Uh, but it had half-inch holes in them, and they would drag you out by any means, whether by the hair, by the arms, by the ear, whatever, by the legs, or picking you up bodily, uh, and then dragging you out from the room, and then beating the ever living tar out of you for not doing it. I ended up taking my brother's beatings, my younger brother's beatings. Um, it got I got beaten so often, and my brother was beaten as well, just not as much as I did, because I also took responsibility for the younger kids there, and so I got beaten so often. I literally jumped from a fourth or fifth floor, maybe even higher, from the cement balcony on the top of the building, and jumped down, and I hit every cement balcony on the way down until there's a the building was bordered by crushed rocks, crushed gravel, and I until I landed on there. After that, it gets a little blurry. Uh, I think I broke at least one leg, and I know I had a bunch of stitches because there's a point on my right side where there's a mound where all the stitching came together. So, anyways, then it was off to the second orphanage, run by a Catholic charity, funded by Catholic charities, staffed by uh, a bunch of 20-year-old college kids, probably doing it for credit or something, where they were playing porno constantly. They were having sex everywhere. They had pornography laying around everywhere. The kids were doing all the work, and there would be priests and other people would come in and basically ignore the entirety of it. So so much for so much for morality uh, and sin in both cases. And I was adopted. Me and my brother were fortunate to be adopted by a white couple. Lovely people. They are my parents through and through. Um, I love them dearly, but I I'm angry. I'm still angry with them because they forced me to um, go to their church, this Catholic church, even though they knew about my experiences. And so now I'm sure they were thinking, well, that was over there. It's not going to happen over here. But uh, I eventually put some effort into it, and I became an altar boy. Ironically, became an altar boy, and I I did the CYO and all this other stuff, and did all the charity things and everything else. And that was those were things that I was that I hated. Doing the charity work and that, because I'm naturally inclined to be uh, a kind person. Um, I'm not going to tell you I don't lie because we all take tell fibs and so on and so forth. But I'm generally an honest person. I can empathize with others. I have compassion for others, and so on and so forth. And so, one thing that always stuck with me is this constant harping about how if you're not if you're not a worshiper of God, and if you're not part of one of these organized one God religions, you're going to go to hell and be tormented forever. And one of the things is like even though my own birth mother had tried to drown me, I was thinking, she's going to go to hell because she had a tough life. And trust me, when I was younger, I was seriously pissed with my birth mother. I was seriously angry with her. I think I called her everything under the sun, every negative thing under the sun. But the simple fact of the matter is that uh, that she should go to she should be going to hell for having a tough life, for having to deal with all the stresses. And then there's the fact of the matter is like all these other people, in Africa, in South America, in China, all these other places that don't follow Christianity. That all these billions of people are going to go to hell because they don't follow this word of God and worship this God. That just it's just silly. And so I'm outraged for everybody. Why should what loving and forgiving God would be such a tight-assed, tyrannical asshole as to do that? And so I've gotten away from religion. I absolutely despise Christianity because of the crap that people because of the crap. I don't think anybody deserves to be eternally damned and tormented. So there's a lot of stuff, but there are all these contradictions and vilifying everybody, and yet we have in today's day and age where the vilification of people are you know is absolutely ridiculous. It is so bigoted and hypocritical. It's stupid, and I think it's Richard keeps on saying hello. Uh, I'm sorry if I lose focus when I try to answer. So, anyways, thank you for watching. But this is I despise organized religion and I don't care if you're Buddhist. I don't care if you're a Hindu. I don't care whether you're Muslim or Christian or Baptist or Presbyterian or what have you. Uh, I think it's a whole. I think it's just a hole full of shit, and uh, and I feel bad because I really feel bad because you know, natural law of the golden rule is something we all commonly share. Natural laws are what we all have in common, and there's just too much contradiction in organized religion, and the evidence for a God is completely and utterly absent, especially a God who is supposed to love all and be the creator of the entire universe. Because if that's the case, then why are we facing climate disaster? Why are we facing the murder and slaughter of millions upon millions of people. Why do we have constant war? Why do we have uh, people living in despondency and despair? Why do we have inequality? Why do we have everything? Because right now, and for centuries upon centuries, the vast majority of people have been living in oppression. Uh, Never mind what we have done to our natural world, the very world we all need. So, if there's a God, then that he's a fucking sick bastard. And if I have to face a hell, then so be it. Because some sick evil bastard that's this God is not worthy of my praise or worship.